Hey everyone, John here. Welcome to another episode of BrainScratch for today, Friday, June 9th, 2017. As many of you know, especially if you're a Johnny Vlogs viewer, I will be going on vacation. There will be no shows on the channel next week, but the week after that, I will be back. Probably with 3 episodes is what I'm thinking. I think I'm going to do a Johnny Vlogs. I think we're going to have a Searchlight, and I think I'm going to have a BrainScratch ready for you. I am also traveling that week. I'm going to VidCon. I'm having my first meetup there. So if you're in the California area in Anaheim and you are free on Friday night, June 23rd, 7 p.m., you can meet me at Downtown Disney. The location, I'm not exactly sure yet. I have to go out there and kind of scope it out, but I will be tweeting the location. You can follow me at Lorden Arts. I will also probably post at least a quick video to the channel letting you guys know where the location is in case you want to come be a part of that. I will have t-shirts to give away. I'll have some other stuff. Really looking forward to meeting some of you brain scratchers out there if you can make it, so I hope you do. Before we dive into today's episode, I also want to announce that I was sent a tweet from someone that was letting me know that the last person that was on our list of the missing DC teens has been found. So if you're not familiar with it, just search on the channel, look for DC teens. You'll see we've been doing several episodes tracking all the people that were part of that initial. It was kind of a theory. I really don't know what else to say about it. That list of names kept changing, but I cataloged about 25 of them. Every one of those kids has been found. So I was very happy to hear that. And thank you to the brain scratchers that reached out to tell me about that. So what are we talking about today? I thought, why not do a mystery from Italy? And let me just apologize in advance for any mispronunciation in terms of names or cities and streets and all that. I'm pretty sure I'll be much better at pronouncing those things after next week. But with all that being said, let's take a look at the case of Canneto di Coronia. And as you can see here, we have pictures of what looks like pretty bad fires. We've got several images, fire department, fires burning in these homes, items within the homes being burned. We see a whole bunch of burned rubbish under this couch right here. What's going on with this story? Well, there was a very strange outbreak of fires that happened in the early 2000s. We're going to get into all the details there. And it was so strange, it even hit the New York Times with this article title, which is pretty out there, I guess. Electricity goes wild. Did the devil make it do it? And not only do we have that theory, there's even UFO theories around this story. So let's start with a quick stop at Wikipedia. Just to learn about Coronia. It is a town on the north coast of Sicily in the province of Messina. The town has 3,555 inhabitants. And here on the map, we get a little shot of it. You can see right here, it's like that big boot is kicking Coronia. And Wikipedia even has its own section specifically on the fires. Canneto di Coronia fires starting sometime in January of 2004. Unusual fires began to be reported in the village of Canneto. Appliances, starting with a television and evidently including a cooker and vacuum cleaner, were reported to catch fire spontaneously. Fires also struck wedding presents and a piece of furniture. At least one person was said to have observed an unplugged electrical cable ignite while he was directly observing it. Very, very strange, and there are tons of stories, if you look into this case, of all kinds of different things catching fire. Also some other strange occurrences, people saying that their cell phones are ringing even though they don't have a cellular signal there. And for all those strange occurrences, there are many, many strange theories. We are going to jump into an article here at Atavist, I guess is how you say it, magazine.atavist.com. And this is written in a long form format. It's very well written. The author did a lot of great research and pulled it all together into one place. It's very comprehensive. And quite honestly, even if I was going to read the whole thing to you guys, I think this video would be probably an hour and a half long. So obviously we can't do that, but I did want to go through the facts on this case. And of course, if you want to read all the detail, it's a really good read. I really highly recommend it. It looks like Ariel Ramchandani, I'm thinking might be closer. Ariel did a really, really good job on this article, so I'll have a link in the description box below. It's called When the Devil Enters. In the middle of dinner, Antonino Pizzino discovered that his house was on fire. It was late December 2003, and Pizzino was at his home in Canneto di Coronia, a one-street town on the north of Sicily. The source was a fuse box, engulfed by flames so intensely that they swallowed the heavy curtains that hung nearby. A normal home, a normal fire, but then a few days later, the kitchen fan caught fire, and the television and other appliances immolated as if by a secret hand. Canneto di Coronia is a city of bricklayers, construction workers, small business owners, and contadini, farmers, worn by years of work in the sun. 39 people lived in a dozen houses along a road called Via Mare. Another 100 residents lived in the surrounding hillsides. That road is kind of the epicenter for a lot of the fires that happen here. In the weeks that followed, Pizzino's neighbors, his father, his mother, his aunt and cousins, who lived close together in 4 or 5 attached houses, also experienced unexplained fires. Pizzino lived with his wife, Maria, and a son, Giuseppe, who was 15 at the time. Together with his father, Pizzino had built his home in the 1980s. Now he assumed faulty wiring was to blame. At the end of January, he changed the wiring, but the fires continued. There's a little video clip. We're going to watch some of it here pretty soon, but I did want to just point it out. It'll be in the description box below, and you can see Antonino being interviewed, and he shows the area where the first fire broke out and kind of takes people through his house. 2 electricians had tested the frizzled electrical system, but they couldn't find the source of the flames, so they decided to cut power from the central plant to the houses until they knew what the problem was. But the fires kept coming, even with the electricity off. Pretty bold move, and it was kind of the first thing I was thinking when I looked into this story as well. It seemed like everything was electrical that was going on. I was wondering, did they have some wiring problems in the area? Maybe something with how the electricity was being sent to the homes where it was overriding their systems. But right from the start of the story, it's talking about a fuse box. And, you know, essentially a fuse box is supposed to be handling if there was a change in current that was too much for all the electronics. That should pop the fuses or the breakers, depending on, you know, what type of technology they're using in the fuse box. To see that that's the point that caught on fire was a little strange for me. It's not totally unheard of, depending on the age of boxes. You know, they have been known to occasionally catch fire, also depending on how they're made. But it just seems strange to me that the appliances in the house would be catching fire, because that would, to me, say that the electricity was not being properly throttled at the fuse box and it was being allowed to go too hot to the actual outlets and appliances. And there are pictures of literally just the electrical plugs, the outlets, those burning as well. As a matter of fact, we're going to watch some footage of that. Why don't we do it right now? Here's some footage. Here we have news crews that are actually witnessing. Look at that power box.
No one is physically injured yet.
And it explodes, which once again for me is just a little strange. You know, for a wire to overheat is one thing. For it to arc and hit another wire and cause a fire makes a lot of sense. But that type of explosion to me certainly looked like there might have been an explosive in there, black powder, maybe some type of, I suppose if there was like a gas leak in the wall or something like that. But that didn't seem like that was just an electrical fire. That explosion was pretty scary, quite honestly. Throughout the village, outlets burned red hot through the holes, cords lit up like sparklers, an electrical motor melted. The little town was an inferno. Smoke poured into the sky and sirens blared from one end of the street to the other. In the first 3 months of 2004, residents reported 92 fires. That's just insane. The train from Palermo to Messina goes through Canneto. The tracks run behind the town's only road. That winter, residents noticed that when the train roared past, the fires would begin again. On February 9th, 2 houses burned. That day, Mayor Spinato ordered the residents of Via Mare to evacuate. So literally, the people are moving out of their homes at this point. The residents were relocated to the Za Maria, the only hotel in Canneto located on a hill directly above the village. And apparently this was all paid for by the government. They were treating this as kind of a natural disaster or an emergency type situation. So all these people are now being placed into a hotel. They're being fed at the hotel. On February 11th, the public prosecutor announced an investigation into the fires. For the residents, the inquiry seemed like a slap in the face, an accusation that someone from their small community had been responsible. They welcomed the chance to be exonerated. Government investigators, engineers, scientists, and technicians monitored the homes in Canneto around the clock. The technicians from ENEL, which is the electric company out there, and the railway also failed to find anything unusual. The telecom lines looked fine too. A member of the National Research Council of Italy presented the idea that the fires could have been caused by an abnormal increase in the electrical field. And this is where some strange science kind of gets introduced when people are looking into the cause of this problem. That's just the first theory. There are many more. One person was quite sure of what had started the fires. Padre Gabriele Amorth, a Catholic priest in Rome. Amorth said that the first thing to do is call a priest and bless the houses. Fires can happen, quote, when the devil enters in the life of a person who allows him entrance. And he added that the cause could be black or white magic, the preferred gateway to Satan. Amorth's declaration disappointed the local priest. That is an absurd satanic hypothesis, the priest said. The inhabitants of Canneto are hardworking people who struggle every day to bring home bread, not Satanism. So we even have priests arguing with each other about the cause here as these fires continue. On March 16th, the fires returned. The investigators monitoring the area noticed other oddities as well. Car locks malfunctioned. Cell phones rang with no satellite signal. A car antenna became so hot that it cracked a windshield. Compasses went haywire. The residents appointed a consultant, Francesco Valenti. On March 31st, he filed a 30-page document titled A Qualitative Report and Definitive Solution to Secure Canneto di Coronia. Valenti calls the fires unforeseeable electromagnetic events caused by roaming electrical charges, like lightning without a storm. Valenti advocated removing the railway lines, changing the angles of the power cables, and fixing all the electrical systems above and below ground in the area. His recommendations were not adopted, but the fires ceased of their own accord. In June of 2004, the residents of Via Mare moved back into their homes for the Sicilian summer. Say that 3 times quick. Seems like we go for a number of months and nothing happens, but then in October of 2004, the seasons changed and the fires returned. Once more, the smell of the sea mingled with the smell of burning. One night, Pizzino dragged Giuseppe from the flames. There were more destroyed couches and now destroyed kitchens. In addition to the flames, pipes and tubes developed holes and burst, flooding homes with water. Now, when I first saw this and saw that it seemed to occur when the seasons changed, I was wondering if there was something seasonal going on there, like if there was more of a power draw once summer went away. I don't know if people were running more fans or more type of air conditioning devices or something along those lines, but it's kind of stuck out to me that this seemed to be seasonal in some way. There was another evacuation. It began in October 2004 and continued through June of 2005. Once again, I believe this is all funded by the government. In April, the Italian government formed a new research group coordinated by Francesco Venerando Montagna. Hope I'm getting that right. The new interdisciplinary team included chemists, physicists, geomagnetists, and professors. Venerando told me that one of the strangest things his team had witnessed during their study was an incident involving a helicopter. As the team patrolled the area, something hit 3 of the aircraft's rotor blades, rupturing the protective coating of each at the same point. They suspected a bird strike, but the researchers couldn't find any biological traces, not a drop of blood. At other times, the group noticed objects moving in the sky. On occasion, they would disappear with great speed, he said. His team also noted other unexplained phenomena, such as lights over the sea and lights moving in a formation from the sea to the land. Guess what theory we have coming here, folks? The press reported extensively on these flying objects. In addition to the devil, they now had definitive UFO sightings to fill their pages. So yes, we have electromagnet theory going on here. We have the devil theory. We have the UFO theory. Some people also thought that it had to do with the train tracks that were right by that street, some type of discharge that would happen as the train came by. Many, many theories, and the plausibility of them each just seems very slim. In the spring of 2007, the government shut down Venerando's study for economic and bureaucratic reasons. In 2005, the Pazzinos and their extended family and neighbors moved back home, where they once again enjoyed their gardens and their pets. Residents filed claims for damages and tried to move on. 3 years later, the prosecutor closed the case. Seems like things are slowing down, and it seems like the fires seem to stop. Or do they? The fires returned in July of 2014 and raged more violently than before. In one 18-hour period, there were 48 blazes, 6 of them at the home of Lorenzina Di Pene, Pazzino's mother. An embroidery basket tucked away in a closet burned, and then a sofa bed. Loose wires caught fire, as did electrical outlets and a television. Residents slept outside in shifts so that someone would be awake to alert the fire department when there was an incident. 1 man and 2 women suffered inexplicable burns, and other people in the village experienced swelling and inflamed muscles. One resident told a reporter, "Now we feel that we are victims of something bigger than us." Toward the end of August, the evacuation order came again. Pazzino left along with his mother and 2 elderly aunts. On September 24th and 25th, Pazzino recounted that there were some 50 fires per night. That's 100 fires in 2 days, and the fire department had to call another town for backup. Another relative of Pazzino's, Salvatore Rossello, had come back to town to pick up some belongings. The interior of his Fiat Bravo caught fire. It just sounds insane. I can't believe that it would kind of go away for a while like that and then seemingly come back, I guess that's about 9 years later. Really, really bizarre. Outside of that, we do have an article here at the telegraph.co.uk just to see this alien theory and how it actually kicked around in the media. Aliens were responsible for a series of unexplained fires in fridges, TVs, and mobile phones in an Italian village, according to an Italian government report. Arson was quickly ruled out, and at one stage, an amazed scientist was interviewed after he described how he saw an unplugged electrical cable burst into flames. Now, in an interim leaked report published by several Italian newspapers, it has emerged that the Civil Protection Department has concluded the most likely cause was aliens. The report was ordered by the Italian government and brought together dozens of experts, including a NASA scientist. Their 2-year investigation has cost an estimated £1 million. According to the report, the fires were caused by a high-power electromagnetic emissions which were not man-made and reached a power of between 12 and 15 gigawatts. Now, another theory that the long article goes through is potentially, is this some type of government weapon that is being tested in the area? Could this be another country testing a government weapon against this area? When you hear something like this, a high power electromagnetic emissions, I mean, it sounds to me like a weapon. I don't know that that necessarily means that they're discussing aliens, as this article is kind of making it sound like they're stating directly. But I don't know. It's just another angle to consider in all this. Is it some type of government weapon? This is just one possibility. We are also looking at another one which involves the testing of top secret weapons by an unknown power, which are also capable of producing an enormous amount of energy. Well, now everyone, this is a little bit of an interesting brain scratch, because usually we have cases where there is no firm conclusion. Here, we actually have a conclusion that might make sense, but might still not explain it all. It's almost a case cracked, I think, but not quite. Let's take a look here. All right, general news. Setter of Sicily mystery fires arrested. Police on Thursday arrested a man in the village near Messina in Sicily, suspected of setting the spate of mysterious fires to get government aid. Giuseppe Pizzino. Does that name sound familiar? It's the son of the first guy, Antonino. Giuseppe Pizzino, 26, was arrested for allegedly starting the blazes that have baffled locals since 2004 with the help of his father, who was placed under investigation. Now, that first article I was reading to you guys goes into much more detail about all this. They don't really have him on the fires from 2004. What happened was, at some point, the police kind of smartened up about all these fires and said, you know what, we need to install some cameras on this street and watch what's going on. But they installed them in secret. So according to that first article, there were 4 cameras that were installed. The person that wrote that article actually got to watch some of the footage. And indeed, there is footage of Giuseppe, going up to a truck, walking away from the truck, and then moments later, him and his father come back, and the truck's got smoke billowing out of it. If I recall correctly, I think there was 40 instances that they caught on tape of him, but those were all from 2014. Also in the investigation, they did look at some communication that was happening between Giuseppe and his father, so it seems like there might have been some collusion there. Also worth noting, his father, can you guys guess this? What industry do you think his father works in? Yep, insurance. All right, back to the article. Giuseppe was probed in connection with incidents that took place between July and October last year, police said. The local mayor remained unconvinced that a human being might well be behind the mysterious fires that had been plaguing his hamlet. I myself, along with law enforcement and national journalists, have seen objects burst into flames out of nowhere, said Mayor Calogero Berengeli. I think that's probably it. In October 2004, Sicilian regional authorities asked the Rome government to declare a state of emergency in the village after the 9-month spate of fires. Declaring a state of emergency would release cash from a special state fund set aside to cope with national disasters such as earthquakes or severe flooding. Police at the time ruled out a possible pyromaniac or hoaxer after seeing electrical wires burst into flames. Some residents, meanwhile, continued to believe the fires were the work of the devil. And that's why I wanted to actually present this case to you guys. I don't know. We have a lot of people that witnessed some of these fires. Now, did they truly witness them starting? who knows? Like that one explosion that we saw in the video clip, that could have had something that had a fuse on it, or there could have been an electrical trigger. Like, someone could literally be in a different room and, hit some electricity into the wire that went into the room where we saw the explosion. And if they had something very simple like a model rocket motor, basically that takes, I think just a 9-volt battery can set one of those off. So it doesn't take very much electricity. I don't know. You've got Giuseppe here. He was, I think, about 15 at the time that the original fires broke out. Is he really going to be working with his father on burning? They're not just his neighbors. They're literally his family members. That Fiat that was burned, apparently they have footage of Giuseppe starting that Fiat on fire, and that Fiat belonged to his uncle. So I really don't know what's up with this kid. I've tried to look for any news updates on this. The most recent thing here is an article from Newser in November of 2016 that's saying that the fires are still unexplained. But in terms of Giuseppe's court proceedings, I'm really not seeing anything after March of 2015, which is when I think they charged him essentially. So I don't know, guys. If he is starting all these fires, I would say he's very prolific at it. If this is something that he was doing since he was a kid, perhaps he got very creative with triggering mechanisms. It doesn't explain some things like the cell phones that are, working when there's no satellite coverage. It doesn't explain people having aches in their bodies, but you just wonder if the mania and the hysteria of everything that was going on in the town at that time kind of pulled the focus of these other unrelated events, and people just added it to the lore of that overarching story. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that Giuseppe and his father could have really done all these fires on their own? I mean, we're talking, it's got to be over 200, maybe close to 300 fires when all is said and done, and you actually go and try to count up all these instances from 2004 until 2014. And if they got away with it while there was police investigations, fire departments working around all that, scientists brought in, full on, national attention, international attention really brought to this area. And they were getting away with it somehow through all that. I don't know. I find that just a little tough to believe, but this is where I turn it over to you. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. There's a lot to talk about in this case. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys dig up on it. And I don't think I'll be going there in particular next week. I've already got a very full agenda. I kind of wish I knew about this a little earlier, because maybe I could have planned a trip there, but I just thought it would be an interesting one to share with you, and maybe a good precursor to the next BrainScratch 2 weeks from today, which should be about a ghost tour that I am taking in Italy. Assuming that I'm able to get enough information, that's what the episode will be about. If for some reason that changes, I'll let you guys know, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be the next BrainScratch in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll miss you guys next week. Take care, everyone, and I will see you back here on the Lord and Arts channel a week from Monday. See you then.